but we will definitely start. And let's start in frog pose. So you take your knees as wide as the yoga mat. As wide as the yoga mat. Who are we kidding? Go lengthwise on the yoga mat. Invisible. And you can even take pillows off the bed, Emma, and put them underneath your knees. And then slide your hip forward so they line up with your knees. And flex your feet. So if you're not sure, slide your hips more forward, Emma. Looking good, Akiko. Yes, you're good. And just a good feedback is like with every exhale, does it get a little bit more intense? Does it get a little bit more feeling wise? So take a couple moments, make the small wiggly adjustments. And then allow your concentration just to kind of notice what the room is like, what the temperature is like. Notice what sounds you hear. You can always flex your feet, especially if you feel a little sensation in your knees. And then just take a couple moments and notice if you can remember your dreams. If you can't remember your dreams, maybe notice if you remember a feeling that you woke up with. Or even just think and imagine the starry night. You can move your hips forward, Layla, love. Yes. It's so easy in the middle of our day to forget how epic our lives are. That I sometimes think about as we incarnated into this lifetime. We must have traveled through all these stars and even seen the backside of the sun to find our place on Earth here. And that perspective and journey lies somewhere in our being. So moving in from this cosmic check-in, take a couple moments and just notice how your thinking has been this morning. Take a couple of breaths. And then notice how your feelings have been this morning. And before your feelings get dramatically different, start to slide forward, moaning and groaning, and wonder if I have a watch on. I do. Wiggle, move around a little bit, feel that your movement, your noises help dissipate the sensations in your body. So you can shake your legs, you can do a ceiling dance, you can just wiggle your butt side to side. And then spin back around onto your yoga mat, and we're gonna move into Sphinx. So one of the easiest yoga poses. You might have even started doing this before you did yoga. But one of the reminders I often feel needs to be voiced is our yoga can be so simple to be effective. It doesn't have to be some weird pretzel-y thing. It doesn't have to be extraordinary. So slide your elbows just right underneath your shoulders or slightly in front. A scarf does go nicely with the Sphinx. Lovely. And with your exhale, maybe even practice just sighing it out through your mouth and feeling your bones drop a little bit more towards the floor. Nice pair. So you've checked in with your feelings. Now take a couple moments and notice the energy and sensations in your physical body. So the energy in our body, I often think of plants when I think about it, because it's this whole body check-in, not like the energy in my left elbow or the energy over here, but my whole energy. And this is a place where often if we're tired, we can kind of be like, oh, or worn out, exhausted, or PMSing or sick. It can really affect this kind of core energy that we have. Our prana, our chi, our ki. But this energy body of ours, it can change in an instant. You can on purpose fuel it up. You can even use your own body energy to help other people feel better. And it's this very life force that we actually build our practice around. When you start to have a daily practice, most likely you will notice that there are going to be days where you really don't want to do it. And you'll notice that even on those days when you practice, and it can be yin, it can be yang, it can be like half an hour, it can be 3 hours. But your practice never is something that you regret, or nearly never. There's always exceptions. But what it does is even just taking this moment and intention in your day fuels and invigorates the life force in you. For the last couple of breaths here, drop your chin down and let your neck stretch. And feel like this is a little bit of bowing to the powers that be, these creative forces in the world that allow trees to grow as trees, that allow fire flames to flicker and dance, or water to eddy and gurgle. And even these life forces that allow babies to grow up into full-sized humans. And then allow your elbows to slide out to the side as you settle down to the ground, maybe wiggling your hips, maybe moaning and groaning, or gently crying, whatever seems to come up. One of the nice things about being online is that you can make all the weird noises that you would never do in a yoga class. And we're gonna do a shoulder opener here. So stretch your right arm straight out from your shoulder with your palm facing down. Then bend your left knee and no. Okay, I was going into it this way. So you stretch your arm out, then you bend your knee, and then you follow your foot over. And it's like, ta-da, you're in the pose. I know all of you have done this posture before. Don't overthink it, Hedwig. So just bend your left knee and then you follow your foot over and it twists you over. You can bend both of your legs if you'd like to. Now, you might be just fine even just, yes, even just rolling here and putting the pressure on your shoulder. Or maybe you take your top arm and reach it up and just bend it behind your ribs, or reach and see if you can hold hands behind you. You can also bring your right knee closer to your chest so it's a little nicer on your spine. You're looking great here. It's nice to know that you've all done this before. You can bend both your knees if you want, Emma. So your top leg doesn't have to float. You can step your left foot on the ground behind your right leg, or you can have your knees just like you have them. Yeah, exactly. And Layla, you can experiment and actually just bend your left elbow so that your top arm wraps around you and can relax. Mm-hmm. Ish. Now take a full breath in, and with your exhale, just sigh it out. So this life force in our body, this chi, this prana, depending who you ask, when you ask, we can imagine it as part of our own creation, that on a daily basis, we have cells that are being born and cells that are dying. We have this kind of this ever moving cycle of life and death in us that is how we are alive. So the most familiar life and death cycle for us is actually eating, where it's our annihilation of the food that frees up, yes, nutrients on one hand, but also life force on another hand. All of our tissues and our cells and our organs are constantly regenerating. For instance, we have all brand new cells in our liver after just 6 weeks. Maybe that's part of why it takes 40 days to really create a habit, good or bad. And then roll back onto your belly, moan and groan. Make sure your right fingers all work. When I'm teaching in real life classes, often I'm usually looking at some of my friends' hands, and it depends how blue the hand gets to when the posture is over. And then stretch your left arm out to the left, palm facing down, so your arm is coming straight out of your shoulder. You can hug your knees towards your chest and then roll open, maybe stepping your right foot on the ground. Is that the right one? Yes. You're not wearing your wedding ring. Take a full breath in here, and with your exhale, just sigh out. Making friends with the posture. Sometimes if your head can't reach the mat, even when you bring your chin towards your chest, you want to put a pillow underneath your head or whatever, a rolled up towel or a book. A small dog might work. This life force that streams through our body is part of the world or the universe's energetic totals. So it's like, in very material based physics, there's this limiting idea that no new energy is ever created. We can get into the physics conversation later. However, you will experience in your own body, in your own test lab of being alive, that what you do matters and affects your energy and your life force and the people around you, the beings around you even. Including, dogs and cats, plants, most likely other beings too. But we want to start to notice that sometimes part of our limiting belief is our fixation on what we think is an exhausted science. Like, is one of your limiting beliefs actually just plain old simply materialism, or I want to nearly call it finitism? You're slowly creeping up to being balanced here. Seeing if you can soften into the last couple of breaths here. Instead of trying to rush them, draw them out a little bit. As we see this world turn and twist and have such fear-based reactions to many things, it's becoming more and more a radical act to be creative, even just in our thinking and our wild expectations of a more beautiful future. And yes, Charles, the one we know is possible. And then roll onto your belly. Moan and groan. Wiggle your fingers. And shift yourself back into child's pose. Take a moment in child's pose to feel, to observe, to witness. One of the old ancient translations of yoga is magic. Definitely connected to when people notice the siddhas, these nearly superpowers. But we want to understand magic as technology we don't understand yet. That was a nice sentence, huh? And then roll your chest up. Starting the fire at the base of our body, let's tuck our toes under. If you notice, fire always moves upward. So tucking your toes, for some people, this is like, ugh, no big deal. I could do this for days. For other people, this is extremely hard. And we want to just be in the just the right amount of challenge and difficulty. So you want to be able to withstand being uncomfortable, annoyed, bored, angry, but not sharp pain. Bring your hands to heart center and close your eyes. You know the Zoom will cut out our ohms, but I want you to feel maybe the extension of our sound even in your body. Empty your breath. Take a deep inhale. Let your hands just relax for a moment. Actually, let's take a self-hug here for all of those who haven't been having enough hugs. So squeeze in. I know, it feels a little silly, or if in your head it feels silly, but in your body it should feel awesome. And then bring your hands back to prayer. And I know that your toes are still there. See if you can lift up your knees. Good morning. Squeeze your knees together and let your knees drop a little bit more in front of your hips. And then see if maybe you can lift up all the way to standing on your tippy toes. Ooh, that should feel a rush of blood. And then let your heels drop down and lift up your right foot and shake it out, and lift up your left foot and shake it out. And then just circle your hips a couple times, wiggling, and then circle the other way. And then straighten and bend one knee at a time, and you can add a little dance into it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then stretch your arms out, reach your fingers out, take your feet wide, and you're coming into star. This is actually really a pose, or it has a name at least. And really imagine that you can try to reach your hands further than your nails are. Imagine that you're pushing your feet underneath the floor, and maybe start to bring your gaze upward. And with your exhale, step back together, Samastitihi. Inhale, stretch your arms up high. Exhale, bow down. Let your knees be soft. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands connect to your shins or the ground, looking a little bit more forward. And then step back to plank. Now start to shift back and forth on your toes. Beautiful pair. Yeah, so we're just getting our fire, like really getting it going in the toes area here. And start to feel the warmth coming from your feet up your legs. Feel your thighs, and now you're starting to feel your abdominals. Take your gaze a little bit further in front to feel your upper abdominals too. And then shift to your tippy toes and slowly, like you're moving through molasses, lower all the way down to the ground. Flip your toes over, plant your feet in the ground, and inhale, low cobra. And then exhale, release them, come down to the mat. Take your hands out as wide, just outside your yoga mat. Let your elbows lift up. I think of this as diva baby cobra. Inhale, lift up, diva cobra, like you have a big, wide cobra neck on. And then exhale, release down. And one more time, inhale. Now this is like mama diva. So see if you can maybe stretch your arms a little higher, lift up higher, come up, lift up your chest, legs working hard. And then with your exhale, come back down, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, push back to downward facing dog, either through chaturanga plank to down dog or onto your knees and down dog. And again, bend and straighten one knee at a time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then with a small bend in your knees, really reach your butt cheeks up towards your ceiling. Yes. And feel that you can even like lift up your toes, like you have a pounce just waiting to happen in your legs. Take another full inhale. Empty your breath all the way and pounce your feet forward. Nice. Inhale, halfway lift. Drag your chest forward. Open your chest. Open your heart. With your exhale, release and bow down. Push down with your feet and roll all the way up to the sky. Through your fingertips, reach the ceiling, literally. And with your exhale, samastitihi. Release your hands back down and you're ready to do it again. Inhale, stretch your arms up high. Exhale, bow down. Feel your belly lift up as your head drops. Inhale, halfway lift. And then step back to plank. Inch forward to your tippy toes, and with your exhale, come halfway down, chaturanga. And let's take a full breath here for our fire starter. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. No matter what background you're doing, your legs are strong. Exhale, downward facing dog. Introduce that small little bend to your knees to feel the freedom to reach your hips up and back. And then everybody look at your hands and bend your elbows, floating your elbows above your invisible or visible yoga mat, and squeeze the bony part of your elbows together and feel your shoulders open. And then keeping this rotation in your arms, see if you can straighten your arms all the way. Great. Take another full inhale. Empty your breath all the way, and then pounce your feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift, drag your chest open. You can always open your heart. Exhale, release and bow down. Now bend your knees, drop your hips. Inhale, Utkatasana. Now if your feet aren't touching, make sure they do. And then sitting on your invisible chair to go with Emma's invisible mat, you're gonna start to make some circles with your knees. Oh yeah, so we're trying to raise our fire up. And then circle your knees the other way. That's also a lovely variation. Have your hands over your head. I love it. Or in prayer, whichever one feels right. And then come to Utkatasana. Raise your arms up if they're not there already. And with your exhale, bow down. Let your head drop. Inhale, halfway lift. Glide your chest forward. You can do it. And then step back to plank or jump to chaturanga. Exhale to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Small bend in your knees. And then inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. Bend your knee and let your hips spin open. So you're bending your right knee. Your heel is coming to the buttocks. You want to see how energized your right foot can be. Maybe even try to kick your own butt. Yeah, great. Take another full inhale. Let it fuel you up. And then with your exhale, tap your right knee to your left elbow. To your right elbow. And inhale, stretch your leg long. And then exhale, step your right foot all the way forward. Allow your left knee to come down to the ground, maybe folding your yoga mat in, or you can even hover your knee if it's too much to have weight on your knee. That makes for very intense posture. And then raise your arms up. Now, just drop into the stretch between your thighs. And then really squeeze your inner thighs together. So feel how the squeeze of your inner thighs really lifts you up and supports you here. Take another full inhale as you explore the back bend. And with your exhale, frame your foot, step your right foot back. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. Exhale, bend your knee and let your hips spin open. Feel the weight in your hands. Feel your right heel grounding to the ground. If you kicked your butt on the other side, it would only be fair if you kicked this side too. Take another full inhale. And with your exhale, tap your left knee to your right elbow. Then to your left elbow. And then extend your leg long. Exhale, step your left foot all the way forward. Drop your knee down to the ground, folding your yoga mat in if you need to, and raise your arms up. Now energetically drop into the stretch between your thighs more. Then as you squeeze your inner thighs together, maybe even include your root lock. Inhale, get lifted and explore the back bend with your exhale. Take another inhale here, opening your heart. And then with your exhale, sweet chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Put a little small bend into your knees. Feel your hips reaching up and back. Breathing through your nose. You're breathing an Ujjayi breath, which is, it's like a dramatic whisper. So you have your throat a little bit like closed, like you're doing a stage whisper. You want to feel your inhale filling up not only the front of your lungs, but the back of your lungs. You keep your Uddiyana Bandha engaged and your root lock engaged. And so it really expands your chest and opens your heart even. Take another full inhale. Empty your breath all the way and hop your feet in between your hands. Inhale, drag your chest forward. Exhale, release and bow down. Let your head drop. Now push down with your feet, bend your knees, drop your booty. Inhale, Utkatasana. With your exhale, take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers, pull your knuckles down to the ground and your heart up to the sun. And with your exhale, bow forward, keeping your hands as they are. Bring them overhead, down towards the ground. Then release your hands as you swing up to Utkatasana. And exhale, bow down one more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk or float. Exhale, sweet chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. And with your exhale, tap your right elbow or just bring yourself into a push-up here. Yeah. Inhale, stretch your right leg long. And exhale, tap your elbow, right side, right side. Inhale, stretch long. And with your exhale, step your right foot all the way forward to your right thumb. This time your left leg is lifted. Squeeze your inner thighs together first and then rise up, crescent lunge. Beautiful. Now feel your inner thighs squeezing together. Get long in your torso. Lift your heart up. Maybe explore the back bend more. Take another full inhale here. And with your exhale, open arm twist to your right. Reach through your fingertips. Feel that your arms are stretching apart and so are your legs. Take another full inhale here. And then with your exhale, open up, warrior two. And then inhale, you're going to reverse your warrior and you're going to pop your right heel. Pop it. Yeah. So you just lift up your right heel. Other right heel, Emma. The front one. Yeah, it feels weird. It's like doing it with one stiletto on. Take another full inhale. And with your exhale, windmill your hands down. Let your left hand root and open up your right arm for twisting lizard. Take another full breath here. Lean into it. Let your shoulders come back. And with your next exhale, vinyasa. Find your way to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. With your exhale, tap your left knee to your left elbow. Enjoy a push-up. Inhale, stretch your leg long. Exhale, tap your left knee to your left elbow or higher. Inhale, stretch your leg long. And with your exhale, step your foot forward. Rise up. Back heel's lifted already. Let your arms reach up. Now remember to squeeze your thighs together to find that support. And then from that base, you can lift up higher. Take another full inhale. And with your exhale, open arm twist to your left. Take a nice inhale here. Maybe take another inhale, and with your next exhale, open up, warrior two. Now inhale, reverse your warrior and pop your left heel up. Other left heel, front heel. Yes. So it's really, it just makes it a little bit more intense in that front thigh. A little bit diva warrior. We had the diva cobra. And then with your exhale, windmill your hands down and your right hand grounds and lift your left arm up to the sky. Lizard twist. It should feel good. And then with your exhale, vinyasa. Find your way to chaturanga, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now find a bend in your knees. Find a little bounce. And maybe even start to jump your feet side to side. You can even make a little, yeah, that's also nice. So you can either do the jumping jack version or you can take both of your feet to one side and both of your feet to the other side. And then if you want, you can take both your feet forward and backwards and side to side and forward and backwards and side to side and forward and backwards and side to side and forwards and backwards and side to side. Take another full inhale. And then with your next hop, see if you can hop your feet in between your hands. Inhale, drag your chest forward. It's hard work. Lift your chin away from your chest. And with your exhale, bow down. Now, take one hand to the crooks of your elbow. Take the other hand to the crook of your elbow. And just like pendulum your upper body a little bit, feeling the heat in your body. And then release your hands, toe heel your feet together, and root down with your heels and roll all the way up to standing. Identify your right arm and your right leg. And we're moving into Garudasana. So with your exhale, take your right arm underneath your left arm. A good check is you want your thumbs closest to your nose. Now lift up your chest even though your elbows are pulling down. And then imagine you have a wall behind you that you're going to slide your shoulders and hips down. Beautiful. And then come to like an Utkatasana legs, and then braid your right thigh over your left thigh if you didn't do your legs and arms together. Now, sit into your seat and let your chest lift up. Take another full inhale. Exhale. Then with your next inhale, you're going to tap your elbows down to your knees. And from there, you're going to unwind your legs first, stretching your right leg back, stretching your arms, your eagle arms forward. And then you're going to unwind your arms and open up into half moon. You imagine there's a wall behind you. Yes, beautiful. Take another full inhale. If you want, you can bend your right knee and see if you can hold on to your right foot, coming into candy cane. Allow yourself to be challenged, which means wiggling and maybe falling over. So Emma, you're twisting your half moon, which is awesome, but it's definitely harder. So it was right hand to right foot, but I like your version. All right, now without going splat, see if you can release your right limbs, come back to half moon, and then you're gonna bring your right hand down to the ground, square your hips, bend both of your knees, and lift up, maybe lift up your hands and come into Shiva curtsy. Pear's doing it beautifully here, yes. So it's a very active pose. Both your knees are bent. Curtsying is hard, it's way harder than just bowing. And then release your hands down and bring yourself to Oh My Goddess. Let your heart blossom open. Feel that it takes effort on your part to keep an open heart. This is always true. Counter to popular opinion, we actually open our own hearts. Nobody does it for us. It doesn't happen to you. It's a capacity of yours. Now interlace your fingers. Stretch up to the sky. Take a baby back bend. And with your exhale, come to standing. Step your feet together. Raise your arms up over your head. Identify your left arm and leg. Either do your arms and legs together or first exhale and sweep your left arm underneath your right arm. Lift up your chest, pull your elbows down, and then slide your hips and shoulders down. Then lift your left leg and braid it around your right leg. So really squeeze into your thighs, sit into your seat, feel the weight in your heel. With your next inhale, bow forward enough that you can touch your elbows to your knees. Then keeping your eagle arms, unwind your legs and stretch your left leg behind you, your chest moving forward. This is a warrior 3 variation. And then unwind your arms, and you can maybe even make fists as you open them up into half moon, releasing your right fingers in front of your right pinky toes. A great place for a block if you practice with a block. Then bring your chin to your chest and maybe turn your gaze upward, or if you're not ready for that, don't. And you can see if maybe you can bend your left knee and hold on to your left foot. And perfect, pair. We want to play at our edge, so our edge isn't predictable. You never know where it is quite. So flirting with it, sometimes you fall out of the pose or get your legs mixed up. You sure you don't want to do the other side, Emma? And then see if you can blossom open. And then square your hips, both hands on the ground, bend both of your knees. Thanks for bringing me there first. And then lift up your hands. Shiva curtsy. It's hard. Sign of reverence. It can be hard. So your right knee, your left knee is behind your right knee. Yeah, I like it. Gravity's a little strong in some places here. Now unwind your legs and squat down to, oh my goddess. Now we're gonna do the crone goddess variation. So let your spine curve and reach your hands forward. Very nice. If your heels are struggling to get to the ground, just step your feet out wider or roll up your mat and have your mat underneath your heels. Now inhale, lift up your chest. And you're gonna take your right arm and you're gonna reach it out to the right and just stretch your left arm out. So it's like a very nice opening stretch here. And then come back to center and ta-da, we have to do the other side. So maybe you find it's easier to open your chest or open your heart in one way, but we want to practice opening our hearts in all ways. And then bring your hands back to center and sit down. And do a little dance. This is a little like more like I'm driving a car. And come down onto your back. Slide your heels in. You want your feet hip distance apart. And then you're going to spin your toes in a little bit. And then you want to feel that you root down through your feet, and that gives you power in your legs to help lift your hips up. So lift your hips up. Roll your hips up. Maybe shimmy your shoulders closer underneath you and hold your own hands. And there's an amazing thing here. You can kind of just like hang out and like look like you're doing it. But when you pour your energy into it and your life force and your muscle force, the force, then it brightens up and gets shiny. The hard work is rewarding. It will actually fuel you for the day. And then slowly release your hands, roll your lower back down, slide your feet out so your feet are as wide as the yoga mat, and let your knees fall back together. So with your knees bent and your knees like they just drop together, it should feel softening in your lower back. All right, slide your feet back in. Feel this connection that our earth, our grounding down to the earth actually invites the lightness and the life force into our body. So inhale, start to lift up your hips. And then start to roll your chest towards your face, maybe shimmying your arms underneath and holding hands. If you already feel open and energized, feel free to lift straight up into wheel here. But wherever you are, you want to feel, can you brighten your posture? This is one of the crazy things, like we can actually turn our shine on. And this is our practice. Spin your toes in a little bit for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then roll back down, one vertebrae at a time. Slide your feet out. Let your feet drop your feet. Your knees drop together. Feel your lower back softening. Una más. One more time. Noch einmal. I don't know how to say it in Japanese. And then plant your feet down. and rise up. Or you can go from handstand straight into wheel. Beautiful. And then see how much you can turn on your shine, baby. Where does it come from? How do you do it? Feel your breath help for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then slowly come down. Let your knees drop together one more time. We want to notice that, you know, like you can even see it, like even with a candle flame or a fire, where there's nearly like a pulse in the flame, where it gets a little brighter and a little dimmer, a little more and a little less. It's a living quality. It's not just like flip the switch and it's bright and on, but it's pulsing with light. You want to find that your life force also has this pulse. And if you're still enough, you can even feel this pulse in all living things around you. We're in this together in such an amazing, undeniable way. Our experiences can be worlds apart, but we're still in this together. So hug your knees up to your chest, maybe lift up your face and kiss your knees. Thank you. And then keep pulling your right knee towards your armpit as you stretch your left leg long on the yoga mat. And then roll your right knee to the left, coming into our final spinal twist. Your gaze goes away from your knee, maybe up to the ceiling or to your right. And feel how you work with this. Take a full inhale, and with your exhale, just sigh it out. The more that you have the opportunity to listen inwards, to tune in to this invisible world inside of you, or even a dark world inside of you, the more we start to notice that not only are we full of life force, but in our innermost being, there is a guidance, a drive even to become more ourselves. Not directed by just pleasure. It's always going to be hard work, babe. Even being ourselves truly sometimes can be an act that requires courage. And then roll back to center, hug both your knees in, and then stretch your right leg long. And bring your left knee to your right. Your gaze moves away from your knee to the left. Take a full breath in here. And with your exhale, just sigh out. It's so amazing. Pear's hand just kind of, it's not even touching my leg, but it's just slid right underneath where my thigh is. And I can literally feel the warmth and heat kind of rising from his body. This is so much part of what we are able to generate in our bodies. The heat is kind of a result of fueling and filling ourselves with liveliness. And then roll back to center and find your way into Shavasana. Allow your body to be peaceful. So if your lower back hurts, you can have your knees bent, your feet as wide as the yoga mat with your knees dropping back together. But if your lower back is kind of peaceful, stretch out your legs long, feel your body heavy on the ground. Feel that you are still. Drop into relaxation, but allow your attention to stay in your body and in the room. Palms open to receive. With your next inhale, invite your breath back to the edges of your body. Maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes and smile because you're amazing and magical. And then roll over onto your side, hugging your knees to your chest. Feel the truth and the vibrancy of you. And then help yourself up into a comfortable seated position. You want to find a nice, long, straight spine. And bring your hands to heart center. Close your eyes, root down, lift up, and then just take a couple moments and just mentally connect to all the people who are with us in this moment, if not in the room. And let's close with one final Om. Empty your breath. Take a deep inhale. Bring your prayer hands to your third eye. Invite the divine light. And as we bow forward together, we say, Namaste. And so much love. Make some noise. So this is not applause. It is an energetic clearing of the room. So then you're free to be like, okay, ready for the rest of our day. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Thank you, Per. Thank you, thank you. Lots of love. I'll see you guys soon, I hope. Bye.
Leila.